I spent hours grinding Build a Boat for Treasure, getting all of the tools and all of the materials for this moment. I haven't touched grass in way too long, but today we're going to be building a rocket ship, and I have here my partner who is also helping with the build process. You can say hi.
Shalom.
Oh god. Let's delete this.
No.
W introduction. So right off the bat, we are building the body of the rocket. And of course, like a dum-dum, I didn't use the measuring tape. So I had to go back and delete half of them and extend them. But now pretty much we are lifting up the blocks to get it to a good height for our rocket. And for the door, I didn't want to do just like a basic rectangle shape. I wanted to make it a little bit more interesting, like a zigzag thingy shape. Zigzag thingy. That's definitely the word for it. The crazy thing is, when I first started playing Build a Boat for Treasure, I actually built a boat and I made a video of me and my partner building a boat, and holy crap, I was not expecting that video to pop off and get so many views. But it's literally almost at 4 million views, and I almost pissed my pants. And everyone's like, oh my god, how could you build a boat? Why are you building a boat in Build a Boat for Treasure? It's like, dang, jeez, it was just a misunderstanding. So then I made an apology video as a joke, saying I would build a rocket ship. So here I am, building a rocket ship. But yeah, honestly, getting that many views was really scary at first. But it was also really funny because there were so many arguments in the comment section about who was doing all the work and who wasn't. But the truth is, whenever we build, we basically build 50-50. Like, he builds half of it and I build the other half. It's just since it's recorded from my point of view, it is hard to see what he does. So like, I definitely understand the arguments, but this is a team effort. And throughout this entire building process, we had so many people coming over and trolling us, which made it a lot more fun. This person in our server brought over a little go-kart, so we decided to take a break and have a little bit of fun here. We were just crashing into each other and racing. It was pretty fun. But it was time to get back to work. So here we're lifting up the body. That way we can start working on the top of the ship. And we felt that the rocket wasn't big enough. So here we're just extending it to make it bigger. So once we got everything extended, we began to work on the tip of the rocket ship. Here we're just extending blocks, and then on the inside we're placing a block down and deleting the piece to get it attached. And don't worry, it's not gonna all fall apart, because later we're gonna go in and put blocks on the inside to make sure everything sticks together good. I'm not gonna lie, we had no idea what we were doing because we've never built a rocket before, and we didn't look up any videos or tutorials, so that did not help much either. Really regretting using ChatGPT on our NASA engineer exam. Honestly, disclaimer, we did not actually become NASA engineers for this. But the good news is that he kind of had an idea on how to round out the top, so we kind of just combined ideas for this. A little bit towards the top, we started to get lazy with how we were rounding out the top, so we started extending blocks up. My apologies for all of the cuts and the sped up clips. It's just that I'm such a slow builder that we would be here for hours if I didn't speed up and cut out half the clips. And then out of nowhere, I just get harpooned in the head and lifted off of the top, which honestly scared the crap out of me. And then directly after, someone came and just dropped golden blocks on our side. Gotta love gold. I think that was at least like 30 gold blocks. So now, honestly, one of the hardest parts of this entire process was rotating it because we could not get it lined up. It took way too long, but we wanted to rotate it so we could work on the bottom a bit easier. Once we finally got it lined up, it was time to start on the bottom. So again, we were just extending blocks and putting blocks down, deleting them to get the desired shape we wanted. This is not a tutorial because we have honestly no idea what we're doing here. We're just winging it. So please, if you're here for a tutorial, this is probably not going to be helpful at all, I'm not going to lie. Just going to be so honest. Here for the bottom, we were flattening out blocks to kind of make it look like, I don't know what it's called, maybe a thruster? I don't know, but here we're going to put the rockets inside of this section. I would have to say the easiest part of this entire process was building the body of the rocket and like the top and the bottom. I will say though, we did work a lot on the details to make it look less flat and blocky on the outside. We definitely could have put more effort into it, but we didn't want to be here for forever. So now we're just kind of placing the rockets down and using the move and rotate tool to get the rockets in position in the hole. Once we lowered them down, we used the cloning tool to get the other rockets in place. And I felt like we needed more rockets. I felt like it would look cooler upon takeoff, so I used the rest of my gold to buy 2 sets of rockets. And then here I accidentally moved the rocket instead of cloning it. Oopsie. But I swear every time you clone it, it just moves back to the move setting. So that was kind of confusing at some points. I would forget that it would go back to that. Now that we got the rockets in place, it was time to work on the legs of the rocket. And we had no idea where to start with this, so we both just kind of started building and experimenting with what looked the best and what actually looked like a leg. Now, the legs took the longest out of everything. The legs can just not, bruh. Like, the legs can go step on a Lego. This took way too long. Pretty much on my side, my thought process was to place the blocks down and extend them to the shape that we wanted. But again, I was just kind of experimenting. I felt really bad because my partner kept deleting his whole side and restarting, but kind of his thought process was to build the leg out and then make it come back in. But I swear, no matter what we tried, nothing was working out. So at this point, we were just debating our entire existence. But in the end, we decided to go with the leg I was building on my side because he rage quit his. So I'm just moving back the leg here and having him replicate it because I didn't have enough golden blocks for it. I only had 135 and that wouldn't have been enough to do all of the legs. And I was way too lazy. I did not want to farm anymore. Like, I spent way too long farming. But once he got it replicated perfectly, we reattached the legs and used the cloning tool to make the other legs. We wanted 4 legs total. Once we got it all in position, we hated it. So then we tried putting the legs on the side next to each other, and we hated it again. So we moved them and shortened the legs, and this is the final product for the legs that we came out with. One in the front, back, and both sides. Honestly, I was just happy that one of the positions we moved the legs in worked out, because I was so frustrated, and the other ones just kind of looked like a spider. Now we're working on the inside, making sure all of the blocks are attached so that whenever we take off, everything doesn't just fall apart. So I was working on the bottom here, and my partner was filling in the top area, but it was so squishy in here. I was actually getting claustrophobic, and I could barely zoom out either, so that also made it a lot harder, but I was able to get some good angles. Honestly, we kept getting mad at each other like, oh my god, get out of the way. And then 5 seconds later, I would need him to come back to help me with something. Making the inside of the spaceship was my favorite part of this entire process, and I was getting so excited to see how everything would come together in the end, especially with coloring, which we're gonna do here in just a few moments. I was low-key thinking about building the house from up, since there's balloons in Build a Boat for Treasure. So let me know if you want to see that. It probably won't be like an amazing version of it, but we could surely try. So here I'm making floors so we can have different stories. So we're gonna have 3 floors in total, and my partner is currently working on an elevator to get us between the floors. I just kind of left him with the hardest part because I didn't want to do all that, so I'm gonna make him do all the work. Just kidding, he actually wanted to do that, by the way. And here I'm making a little control room, and we got the idea of adding in computers, and I had no idea how to build a computer, so I got my genius boyfriend here to do all the hard work for me. But seriously, moving these buttons was so tedious, because originally we were gonna have the buttons on the main area, but he was like, well, we can make keyboards, and I'm like, wow, that's so much cooler. So I moved all of the blocks here. I honestly should have just deleted them and then cloned them, but I just took the most difficult route, because why would I not? So I got all the buttons placed down and started coloring them, and this is kind of what it was looking like at this point. Honestly, this is my favorite room. And here I'm just adding color to the floor, the walls, trying to make it look cool. Also, I got a microphone. I don't know if it sounds good. Should I return it? Let me know. I'm also still working on the settings for the mic as well. But yep, just taking my time coloring everything like a 2-year-old. Honestly, he did such a good job with these computers. They're so cute. And he also decorated this area here with the weapons. And down here with the light switches and the shield generator. And I know I said I didn't want to make a rectangle, but I just extended the door parts from the inside, not the outside, so we're not basic, okay? We went with blue legs, a white body, and a gray top. And it looked a little bit too flat on the outside, so we wanted to add in a spiral. And then here I just straight up got kidnapped out of nowhere. I don't know why, I'm just always a target of getting harpooned. But this guy literally starts spawning in cannons, and I'm like fighting for my life, but I'm attached to a harpoon. Like, this guy was out for vengeance on me. I don't know what he had against me, but they were just blowing me up. They just kept spawning in more and more cannons. Just getting wrecked at this point. But once I got unattached from the harpoon, I decided to go, but holy crap, that's so many cannons. But it was time to get back to work, time to focus. Thankfully my partner filled in most of the spiral, and so we were able to just color it blue. And then on the bottom part we added a stripe of gray and around the door to try to make everything come together. And here is the finished product of our rocket ship. And it's not accessible, so you have to use a jetpack to get in, but that just makes it cooler in my opinion. But this is the entrance, and here's the elevator, which will take you to all the floors. And this is the bottom floor where all the shield generators are and the switches for the rockets. This is the top floor where we will be controlling everything and driving the rocket. But now it's time to take off. Moment of truth. And blast off! Now it's time to test it through all of the stages. Gonna make this super dramatic. Will our spaceship make it? I'm going to be honest, I cut it out. Oh my god, I'm so fake. But I cut out the part when we first started to take off. We had some difficulties with stuff being connected, so we had to go in and move the switches. And we forgot that we can't have all the rockets on at the same time, or else halfway through they'll all go out. So we moved the switches to the top, so in just a moment here I'm gonna have to zoom in and flip the switches. That way the 3 rockets can go off and we won't just go crashing and burning. Honestly, this looks so cool. Yep, now it was time to flip on the switches. Boom, we got our backup rockets on. Soon the other ones are gonna go out. Honestly, this rocket is a beast. It is getting us through these stages so fast. And yep, just as we thought, the other rockets went out. I would love to build a rocket ship just solely out of gold blocks, but oh my god, that would take forever to get those. Because the only way you can get them is from the chest down here. Honestly, this part with the rocks here is so hard. I swear so many of my builds have died here right before the chest. So disappointing. Woohoo! We made it. Love how I was just face first in the sand. But our rocket ship was a success. Just a few oopsies here and there, but in the end it worked out. If you watched this far, thank you so much for watching. Okay, bye-bye.